أهلا وسهلا. Hoş geldiniz.
Bienvenidos.
Selamat datang.
Welcome to Speaking Our Mind podcast, where health is more than healthcare.
Hola, buenos días. Bienvenidos. Welcome to Speaking Our Mind podcast. Here I am with Savitri Horrigan.
Hi, selamat pagi. This is Savitri Horrigan.
Buenos dias. Hola. And I'm here with Jonathan Gonzalez as well.
Buenos dias. Hello.
So,
how are you?
Good. So, Jonathan is from Flow Free or Die.
Yes, I am.
And this is our third season for Speaking Our Mind podcast. Woo woo! We are so excited to really start this season. I was telling Jonathan today is a good day to be a Hispanic Latino. And even if you are not, just to be human, to recognize that we are humans and that we are here in Nashua, New Hampshire. But if you are not in Nashua, New Hampshire, and you're here in the United States, in this world, welcome to Speaking Our Mind podcast. In this new season, we are so excited to just start talking about so many subjects that we want to just develop with you, right, Savitri? We have been speaking and getting ready to talk, just unfold so many subjects that we want to unfold with you all. Today, we are just going to do a brief overview with what we have just for you for the whole season.
Yeah, today we're going to be talking about kind of our guiding framework for these episodes this season. In the past, we talked about mental health and behavioral health, and this year we're going to be broadening, still including focus on that, but also broadening it to social determinants of health, which we're really excited to bring to you all.
Yeah. And for those who are not familiarized with social determinants of health, we're going to take a deep dive on those social determinants of health through the whole season. We're going to take it slow. We're going to make it very approachable, and we're going to have very interesting guest speakers with us. We are also going to invite them to come and talk to us in different languages. In diferentes idiomas. We're going to do this podcast in several different languages. Everybody will have the opportunity to learn about these subjects in their own maternal language. That is so exciting. And if you know me, or if you don't know me and you get to know me, which I hope you will, and get excited about the idea, you will enjoy these subjects. So tell us a little bit, Savitri, what is your role for the Public Health Department? What has been your experience lately with the position that you are with us here at the Public Health Department here in Nashua?
Sure, Iraida. I've been here at the Division of Public Health and Community Services for the City of Nashua just over a year. I have a Master of Social Work degree from University of Connecticut. Saya bisa berbicara bahasa Indonesia sedikit-sedikit saja. It just means I can speak a little bit of Indonesian. That's where my mom is from. And I'm really excited to be able to incorporate that into this podcast as well.
We will. I'm so excited about that part.
My work focuses primarily on behavioral health, which includes, broadly speaking, it includes mental health, prevention for suicide, prevention for substance use disorder. It's a broad scope across the lifespan, so for youth prevention, but also focusing on adults and community prevention and harm reduction services.
It will be very unfair to ask you what's your favorite part because it's so difficult to choose one.
It is. I really enjoy things that I get to work on is chairing the Mayor's Task Force on Substance Misuse, and also called Motive, and that's a really great monthly convening with lots of different stakeholders in the region where we get to do deep dives into data, which I really enjoy because we get to look at what are the monthly numbers for opioid overdoses and overdose fatalities. And that helps us get to have a better understanding of what the landscape looks like. What are the trends that we're seeing? How can we better use this information to inform our prevention and harm reduction strategies? And we also get to have report outs from the Syringe Service Alliance of the Nashua area, or SANA, which is led by Revive and other partnerships to share how much their harm reduction efforts have really impacted the community. That's amazing. I actually have a really impressive statistic that I want to share. Let me just pull it up.
Which I really like. This is a part of what I really love, sharing some data with our folks here.
Yeah, so this Mayor's Task Force on Substance Misuse, it was started back in 2016 to work collaboratively through the continuum of care to improve access to substance use services.
Here in Nashua, New Hampshire.
Most recently, Currently, we've seen in this past year, according to data from AMR, that Nashua saw a 16% reduction in opioid overdoses from 2024. Yeah, it's huge. And a 35% reduction in the last 2 years. And so this year marks the lowest annual number of opioid overdoses since we began tracking 10 years ago, which I just wanted to take a moment and pause on that because this is just really incredible. We've come so far in New Hampshire with being able to meet people where they're at, have this harm reduction. A huge part is Narcan education and accessibility.
What is Narcan?
Narcan is also known as naloxone, and it's an opioid overdose reversal drug. Most commonly, you'll see it as like a nasal spray, and it will reverse overdoses and get people that time they need to start breathing again while emergency medical services are coming to help. You need to have both. You can't just have one or the other.
Let me just say that just a year ago or two, people was really having very hard times with that word or that particular subject. We had, like a year ago, we had such a great event at Public Health Department just explaining about harm reduction. And people really didn't really know what was that about. So we had an event about harm reduction, and it was great. And we started talking about harm reduction itself. And we had so much success with our partners here in Nashua, New Hampshire. And we talk about all kinds of harm reduction.
Yeah, we tried to address the stigma that often comes with harm reduction in the substance use disorder field, because there is a lot of stigma and shame associated with these things. But when we look at broaden our scope and look at our everyday life, we all practice harm reduction in so many different ways. A lot of us wear our seatbelts when we go in the car.
Correct.
We wear helmets when we, use any kind of like bicycle or snowboarding or anything that can cause bodily harm. We wear sunscreen when we go out into the sun to reduce the risk of skin cancer. We brush our teeth and we floss to reduce the risk of, dental cavities and things that can impact heart health. There's just like endless examples of how we all practice harm reduction. Something that I'm really proud of is the work we've been doing to address stigma.
So there was a huge stigma about Narcan. Now, I think one of the results of all the efforts that we all have done is these statistics, right?
Yeah. So I think what's so important to me about this is that we've all done a lot of work collectively to make it more accessible. Yes. I was shocked to hear if you were to go to buy Narcan for yourself, how much do you think it would be?
100, I will say, because it saves a life. I will say it's expensive.
So it's not quite that expensive, but it is $50 for 2 of those nasal sprays, which is a ton of money. That's a huge cost barrier if you are in an emergency and you have just a few minutes to help out your friend or someone in need. That's gonna be a huge cost barrier. So it's really critical that we make these life-saving harm reduction tools accessible to everybody in our community. And we've seen that with spread Narcan trainings, working with community partners and organizations to make Narcan available, having Nalox boxes, which are those clear kind of boxes that people can install on their walls and just have that available.
And I know that you do those trainings at no cost to our partners in the area. Well, whoever needs it, they'll call you and you go and...
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do these oftentimes with folks from Revive Recovery, who are an amazing partner with that harm reduction.
Did you know that?
I didn't. Knowledge is power, and I'm just very amazed on the reduction in numbers because of the work you guys have been doing. So great job.
Thank you. Yeah, it's amazing, and we still want to keep going until no lives are lost to substance use disorder. That's something I also try to keep in the back of my mind. Is as much as I love looking at data, I also try to remember that these are human stories too, and the human impact is real, and that's why it's so important to keep supporting these types of harm reduction strategies.
And that's just one of the strategies that we focus on.
That's just one of them.
Exactly. Another part of the job that we do together is, because there's so many intersectionalities. I like a lot the prevention piece. And we work together a lot with the young people. And that's one of my favorites
That's definitely one of my favorites as well.
Because we enjoy so much time together with the young people. And, we think a lot in listen a lot to them and what do they have to say. In fact, last week we had such a great experience with them. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So last week we had a regional training for the Getting to Why program, which is a really awesome program. It's evidence-based. It's been happening in Vermont for the past decade, and it basically focuses on youth leadership. So providing this training to high school students to help them build leadership skills, data analysis skills, and getting to look at the Youth Risk Behavior Survey data, or YRBS data, that they contribute to. So every 2 years, they do this survey.
What is YRBS data, Savitri, for those folks who don't understand our acronyms?
Yeah, absolutely.
Acronimo.
So Youth Risk Behavior Survey, that's a survey that students will do every 2 years, and it asks about a broad range of different risk-taking behaviors, such as substance use, what they think about different substances, what they think their parents or friends think about it, how much they've used it in the past year or the past 30 days, and that's a broad range of different substances. And then also have they felt suicidal thoughts in the past year or past 30 days, when they felt mental health challenges or sad, angry, lonely. Did they feel like they could reach out to somebody? Did they feel like they had support from adults or people in the community? It also asks about teen dating violence and also like access to food. Did you have breakfast that day? Did you have access to enough food? Have you experienced homelessness in the past year? It's a really in-depth, crucial tool for us to get a picture of what our youth are experiencing. Like Jonathan said, like, knowledge is power. When we have that information, then we can do something about it and inform our strategies for prevention and for intervention.
Yeah, and part of what we do at the Public Health Department, Division of Public Health and Community Services, is we put together strategies that work, right? We want to listen, we want to know, and base our decisions on scientific data and put together strategies that actually will make sense for our community. That's what we're doing right now, right? We listen to the data and we develop a plan with our partners, school districts. What are the ages that are filling up these surveys?
I don't have the specific ages, but I believe it's middle school and high school ages.
Middle school and high schools. The whole state of New Hampshire.
Yeah, and across the country
and
too.
Across the country.
And the reason why I love this getting to why training so much is because it not only is evidence-based, it's trauma-informed, which we'll get into in later podcasts. Yeah. But one of those principles of being trauma-informed is making sure that individuals feel empowerment, voice, and choice. And so this is a unique opportunity for students to actually look at the data from surveys they've completed. One of the students asked us, what do you even do with this data? What happens once we've filled out this really big survey? And that was a great opportunity for us to be able to share, we get the opportunity to share this with legislators, with decision makers that use this information to make decisions, like in the State House, that impact what programs are available to you in your schools and your communities. I think they enjoyed hearing how much their words matter.
I have goosebumps right now because I remember the moment when that young person asked and you were able to answer with respect the truth. The next day we were going to have the legislative breakfast and you say, well, actually, I do have an example to share with you. And she just said, I am going to use this data. And our mayor is actually going to say it in front of the legislators. And she was so proud to say it. And the young people were listening and actually understanding every single word that she was saying. And she was so passionate about it. So I was so proud to see that moment. It was so great to see it, to witness. And it was all true. And everybody in the room was really engaged with our conversation because it was so true. When we collect all this data, they oftentimes don't know what is it for. They really don't. So it really depends on the teacher, how they actually say their information to them when they are collecting the data. Sometimes they really don't want to share it with their parents. They really just want to share how they are feeling at the moment, but they don't really know the reason why they are feeling this way. But we as adults, it's our role to understand their feelings and to do something about it, right? Unfortunately, not all the kids have the opportunity to express their feelings with their own parents. So it's the rest of the community. It's up to us as a community to pick up and actually do something about it. So we are going to continue exploring all these social determinants of health as a collective community because there's so much work to do. And for those reasons, we have guest speakers coming. We are going to record all these podcast episodes in several languages, but in English, of course, for all our audience and for people to understand and to get informed because we believe in the power of education. This is the way to get our lives better. Any final thoughts for our audience, Savitri and Jonathan?
I have a quick question. Now in 2026, as you know, almost everybody or somebody knows somebody that's been impacted by drugs and overdose. What are the stats now and how many people, like, is it 1 in 3, 1 in 5, 1 in 10? I don't know. I'm not sure if you can answer this question or not, that somebody has either been impacted by a loved one has substance abuse or knows somebody that has been impacted with a loved one that has substance abuse?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I don't have the numbers for that, but I can say anecdotally that a lot of people have that personal connection. And even if they don't think or know that they have that connection, it's highly likely that somebody in their life, whether it's a coworker, a friend of a friend, family member who has been impacted by substance use disorder. And they may not, it may also come down to stigma too, and not using those words necessarily. I've friends who do have substance use disorders, but don't, frame it that way. And I think that's an important thing to call out. And I appreciate you asking, because I think it points to a lot of underlying issues within this topic, is that a lot of people, a lot of times they're using substances to cope with trauma, cope with as a coping strategy for life stressors or mental health challenges that they might be going through, or suicidal thoughts or depression and anxiety. And so they may not think of it as like, as a substance use disorder, because they're thinking, this is what I'm doing to cope. It's a coping strategy. And so I really care a lot about, meeting people where they're at, using the words that they want to use, because at the end of the day, what we care about at Public Health is helping people have the information to make informed decisions, having the data and the connection and the social connection and belonging to feel like there are alternatives, seeing what all the different kinds of resources are available in this community, so that they don't feel like they only have one choice when it comes to coping.
So I just want to say this one sentence, maybe this helps. The strategic approach that the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is adopting to address social determinants of health with guide efforts to make health outcomes more equitable by better coordinating health and human services, and by adopting a whole of government multi-sector strategy to address the underlying systemic and environmental factors that affect health status. It is estimated that the clinical care accounts for only 20% of the county level variation in health outcomes, while social determinants of health account for as much as 50% and are a major driver of health disparities. So if we go to numbers, we know, and we're going to explore this in deep in our next episodes, we know by different reasons that it really depends on where do you live, your ethnicity, your race, ethnicity, your age, your social status, your your level of poverty level, your education level, different levels. It's how your health is going to be. Your accessibility level. Do you have a car? Do you have transportation? Do you have health insurance? Do you have education or access of quality of care? Your neighborhood, your environment, your health environment. So many of those are determined if you're going to be healthy or not. So those are the topics that we're going to be talking about, and those are the social determinants of health. And we're really going to go in deep into those with our guest speakers in the upcoming weeks. So our goals are going to be very, very robust. We are very excited about all those topics, and we have the professionals that are going to come and visit us and talk to us about all this. So thank you, Savitri, with all this information. I think it's a very strong first episode. I'm very happy and excited to build as a co-host of this show, and with the help of Jonathan Gonzalez, this is going to be a success. I'm very excited to launch this third season.
Yes, I'm excited. I can't wait till the guys come in and we get to, pick their brain a little bit. So,
and for all our audience, I'm hoping to hear you about everything. And please make your comments and listen to all of us more often. And until the next time, I'll see you all next time.
Yeah, terima kasih banyak. Thank you very much.
Hasta la vista.